Stranded on a desolate alien planet, Jacob faces his most terrifying challenge yet. Not hostile creatures, but his own fear. As he tries to repair his ship and survive, an otherworldly being offers him a warning. The predators here are drawn to desperation, to weakness. They will come for you. With monstrous hunters closing in, Jacob must confront not only these brutal creatures, but the one thing that could make him their prey, his own fear. Will he survive the planet's deadly grip, or will he become the next victim? The scene begins with a moment of intense discomfort as the alien, an enigmatic being made of shimmering light, asks a deeply personal and jarring question. What's between your legs? This inquiry, though seemingly straightforward, is anything but ordinary. The alien's glowing eyes pierce through Jason, the human explorer, as it directs its attention to him with an intensity that feels invasive. Jason is no stranger to danger. He has faced hostile alien raiders, survived fierce space battles, and negotiated with advanced civilizations from across the galaxy. However, despite his vast experience in the harshness of intergalactic travel, nothing had prepared him for this moment of vulnerability. Jason's response is not immediate. The question hangs in the air, echoing in the otherwise silent conference room, catching him off guard. He has encountered all kinds of alien species, from the peaceful to the terrifying, but never has he been faced with such an intimate and unexpected question. The alien's demeanor is curious, not threatening, but it carries an unsettling weight, especially given the unfamiliarity of the situation. The glowing gaze of the alien seems to dig into Jason, waiting for an answer. For a moment, time seems to stretch as Jason tries to process what he's been asked, and more importantly, how to respond. He is caught between his desire to maintain some form of professionalism and the realization that he is dealing with a creature whose understanding of human biology and the concept of personal boundaries may be completely alien. This question, simple in form, carries with it layers of complexity and confusion that Jason must navigate. Jacob's situation is dire from the moment he crash lands on the desolate planet. His ship, once a beacon of advanced technology and safety, has failed, leaving him stranded in an unfamiliar and hostile environment. The planet is barren, with jagged rocks littering the landscape and crimson skies swirling ominously above him. As Jacob steps out of the wreckage, the weight of his isolation is heavy. His immediate survival instincts kick in. He searches for shelter, hoping to find any signs of life or at least a safe place to make repairs to his ship. What he doesn't expect to find, however, is the alien. The alien's appearance is a stark contrast to the bleak, desolate surroundings. Its skin shimmers like liquid mercury, reflecting the dim light of the planet's strange atmosphere. Every movement it makes is deliberate and precise, its slender body moving with an eerie grace. It has elongated arms that end in delicate clawed fingers, giving it an otherworldly and almost ethereal presence. Its head is crowned with a crest that pulses faintly, as though alive with a rhythm of its own. This creature is clearly no ordinary being. Its form is both alien and beautiful, yet there's something deeply unsettling about it. Jacob, despite his extensive experience with intergalactic life, feels an uneasy tension in the air. Jacob's initial reaction is one of caution. He has encountered many strange and terrifying species throughout his travels, each more unpredictable and dangerous than the last. But the alien before him presents an entirely new type of threat. Its appearance alone is enough to unsettle him, but it is the alien's behavior that truly throws him off. The creature isn't hostile, at least not immediately. It seems to regard Jacob with curiosity, an almost childlike fascination. Yet this curiosity feels invasive, as if the creature is sizing him up, trying to understand him in a way that feels uncomfortable. Despite its calm demeanor, Jacob can't shake the feeling that there's more to this encounter than meets the eye. It's clear that this being, whose existence is entirely foreign to him, might hold the answers to his survival on this strange planet. But whether those answers are helpful or dangerous remains to be seen. As the alien's curiosity intensifies, Jacob finds himself grappling with how to communicate the very essence of what it means to be human. When the alien asks, "What is between your legs?" Jacob freezes, his mind racing to process the request. The alien's question is not one of malice or hostility. Rather, it stems from genuine curiosity about a part of human biology that it clearly doesn't understand. To the alien, the concept of human anatomy is foreign and puzzling. Jacob has faced countless battles and negotiations with alien civilizations, but none of those encounters have prepared him for a situation where he was tasked with explaining the most intimate aspects of his body to a being with no frame of reference. The discomfort Jacob feels is palpable. It's not just the alien's words that unsettle him, but the way in which it asks the question. The alien's glowing eyes are fixed on him with an intensity that seems to pierce through his very being. Its body language is calm but insistent, as though it expects an answer, as though it is entitled to one. Jacob, trying to maintain composure, feels a flush creeping up his neck and face. He has encountered many alien species throughout his travels, but never one that was so interested in such a personal detail of human biology. He struggles to find the right words to make the alien understand, but it is a task far more complex than he had anticipated. The challenge of explaining human anatomy to a being made of light is compounded by the fact that the alien likely has no concept of privacy or personal boundaries in the way humans do. For Jacob, this is not just an awkward conversation. It's a fundamental clash of cultures and perspectives. He must somehow convey that the question is not something that can be answered casually. His body, and specifically the part the alien is inquiring about, is a deeply personal and private matter for him. However, his struggle to explain this is not just about privacy. It's about translating an intrinsic part of being human into terms the alien can understand, which may not even exist in the creature's lexicon. In this moment, Jacob is faced with an almost insurmountable barrier, bridging the gap between two vastly different forms of life, one with a deep connection to human biology, and the other existing in a realm where such concepts are wholly unknown. Despite this difficulty, Jacob eventually attempts to answer the alien's question. His words are careful and measured as he tries to convey that the body part in question is not a weapon, but rather a personal part of his anatomy. His voice falters as he speaks, struggling to articulate something so fundamental to his identity in a way that the alien can comprehend. As he speaks, Jacob becomes acutely aware of how alien his own biology must seem to this creature. The alien listens intently, its eyes never leaving Jacob, processing his response with the kind of focused attention that feels unnerving. Jacob realizes that the creature's intent is not to harm or mock him, but to understand. However, even as he answers, he remains on edge, uncertain of the creature's next move, and unsure how much of his explanation the alien truly grasps. As Jacob stumbles through his explanation, trying to convey the significance of human anatomy to the alien, the creature's curiosity only deepens. After hearing Jacob's response, the alien's glowing crest flares briefly, its light intensifying in a way that signifies both interest and excitement. The alien is fascinated by the idea that human anatomy could be so complex and varied from its own. In the alien's world, physical forms may not be defined by the same biological or anatomical principles that govern human life. It's clear that the alien is unfamiliar with the concept of human biology, especially the specific part Jacob is trying to explain. The creature's reaction to Jacob's explanation is not one of judgment or confusion, but rather an earnest desire to understand something it has never encountered before. The alien, with its glowing eyes still fixed intently on Jacob, presses for more details. "Fascinating," it says, its voice calm but insistent. "Your anatomy differs greatly from mine." There's a palpable sense of wonder in its tone, and Jacob, although still uncomfortable, begins to realize that the alien's intentions are not malicious. It does not seem to be probing for weakness or to belittle him in any way. Rather, it is trying to understand a fundamentally different form of life. Jacob's body language shifts as he starts to sense that the creature is simply trying to satisfy its own curiosity and not attempting to invade his privacy or make him feel vulnerable. The intensity of the alien's gaze, which once felt invasive, now feels more like an intense study, a scientific investigation into the anatomy of a being it has never encountered before. However, despite Jacob's growing understanding of the alien's motivations, he can't shake the discomfort of being scrutinized in such a personal way. It's one thing to face hostile aliens in battle or to negotiate with advanced civilizations over trade agreements, but this is different. The alien's curiosity feels invasive on a different level. Its question, though innocent in intent, speaks to the core of Jacob's identity. As a human, his body is something private, something he controls, something that defines who he is. To have that privacy stripped away by an alien being, no matter how curious or well-meaning, feels deeply unsettling. Jacob's discomfort deepens as the alien asks if it may study his anatomy further. The request feels like an extension of its prior inquiry, and Jacob instinctively becomes defensive, realizing that the alien's interest could lead to something far more intrusive than a mere question. The alien's reaction to Jacob's refusal is telling. Its crest dims slightly, and it shifts its posture in a way that Jacob interprets as a form of respect. The creature does not challenge his decision or insist further, but instead acknowledges his boundaries. It's clear that the alien is trying to navigate the interaction with a sense of respect, but its curiosity is so strong that it is difficult for it to fully comprehend the concept of privacy and bodily autonomy as humans understand it. Despite this, the alien's ability to shift its behavior in response to Jacob's discomfort signals that it is not a malevolent force, but one struggling to understand a concept that is foreign to its own existence. This interaction underscores the profound difference between human and alien cultures. The alien's curiosity is born out of a genuine desire to understand, but it reveals the disconnect between two species whose fundamental concepts of privacy, anatomy, and bodily integrity are starkly different. For Jacob, the encounter is both a reminder of the vast unknowns that lie in the galaxy and a test of how much he is willing to share with beings that may not fully comprehend the meaning of personal boundaries. After Jacob firmly declines the alien's request to study his anatomy further, the conversation shifts in tone. The alien, though momentarily dimmed in its crest's glow, shifts its posture, indicating a subtle sign of understanding. While the creature respects Jacob's wishes to maintain his personal boundaries, it quickly moves on to more pressing matters. The alien's demeanor becomes more serious as it delivers an important warning about the dangers that lie ahead on the planet. This is not just a casual exchange of information. It is a critical moment where Jacob must listen closely and determine whether he can trust this alien creature, who is now offering him a crucial piece of survival advice. The alien explains that while it may not be able to help him directly in terms of physical protection, it is well aware of the planet's dangers. Its words come with a tone of urgency as it reveals that there are others on this planet who are far less respectful of boundaries than it is. The alien warns Jacob that these beings are dangerous predators, a species of hunters who roam the land, seeking out those who are unfamiliar with their ways. These hunters, the alien explains, have no regard for personal space or the safety of other beings, making the planet perilous for someone like Jacob, who is stranded and vulnerable without the protection of his ship's advanced systems. As Jacob listens, the weight of the alien's warning sets in. He is not just stranded in a desolate environment, but in one that is actively hostile. The predators on this planet seem to operate based on a different set of instincts, driven by a need to hunt and overpower those who do not belong. The alien's warning is clear. Jacob is in danger, and the predators are drawn to vulnerability. His own human biology, while not necessarily weak, leaves him at a distinct disadvantage without the technological advantages his ship provided. Jacob, already feeling vulnerable from the crash and the strange alien encounter, now faces the terrifying realization that he is not alone in his struggle for survival. The presence of these predators adds a new level of danger to an already treacherous situation. The alien's warning is not just a heads-up about external threats, but also a subtle hint about the nature of survival in this environment. The hunters, it suggests, can sense fear and desperation, emotions that might expose Jacob's vulnerability and make him an easy target. This information is critical because it provides Jacob with a new piece of knowledge about the predator's behavior. They are not just mindless killers, but creatures that are attuned to the psychological state of their prey. The notion that fear can be sensed by these predators adds an entirely new dimension to Jacob's survival strategy. If they can detect fear, then Jacob must learn to control his emotions and mask any signs of weakness that might make him more susceptible to attack. Jacob's immediate reaction to the alien's warning is a mix of disbelief and cautious gratitude. He scans the horizon, his hand instinctively hovering near the weapon on his side. This is the first time he has been explicitly warned about the predators, and while it confirms his worst fears, it also provides him with a sense of purpose. The warning is a reminder that he is not entirely alone, that there are creatures out here who understand the planet's dangers and, in their own way, may offer him guidance in navigating it. However, Jacob remains skeptical. Can he truly trust the alien, who still remains an enigma to him? Is the creature genuinely trying to help, or does it have ulterior motives that Jacob has yet to uncover? As the alien continues to speak, its tone softens but remains firm, urging Jacob to be cautious and to avoid drawing attention to himself. The warning feels like a pivotal moment in their interaction, an exchange that could determine whether Jacob survives the predator's hunt or becomes their next prey. The stakes have never been higher, and with this alien's cryptic but sincere warning, Jacob is forced to confront the reality of his situation on a deeper level. The alien has now provided Jacob with the knowledge he needs to survive, but whether he will heed the warning and adapt to the planet's dangerous nature remains to be seen. In the midst of the conversation, after the alien has given Jacob a chilling warning about the predators lurking on the planet, the alien shifts its approach. It recognizes that Jacob is in a perilous position, stranded far from his ship with no real shelter or resources. Though their initial interaction had been awkward and filled with misunderstandings about personal boundaries, the alien now presents itself as a potential ally, offering help in a way that could be crucial for Jacob's survival. This offer represents a significant shift in the dynamic between the two. No longer is Jacob merely a curious subject for the alien to analyze. Now, he is a fellow being in need of assistance, and the alien offers to guide him towards safety. The alien gestures toward a nearby cavern, which it claims is hidden from the predators that roam the surface. The idea of a safe haven, even if temporary, gives Jacob a sense of relief. The predator's behavior has rattled him, and the thought of being constantly hunted and vulnerable is almost too much to bear. The alien's offer, therefore, is not just a simple act of kindness. It is a lifeline in a hostile world. Jacob, ever cautious but understanding the gravity of his situation, agrees to follow the alien without hesitation. The danger of staying exposed in the open is too great, and the potential safety of the cavern outweighs any remaining distrust Jacob may have in the alien. As the alien begins to lead the way, Jacob follows closely behind, still wary but with his blaster drawn, prepared for any sudden threats. The alien moves with an eerie grace, its form gliding over the uneven terrain without any visible struggle. The stark contrast between its smooth, fluid movements and the rough, jagged landscape is unsettling, making Jacob wonder how well the alien has adapted to this world. Despite the initial discomfort Jacob felt in its presence, there is an undeniable beauty to the alien's movements, as if it is perfectly in tune with its environment in a way that Jacob, with his bulky human form and limited knowledge of the planet, is not. As they make their way toward the cavern, Jacob can't help but feel a mounting sense of unease. The alien's warning still echoes in his mind. These predators are drawn to fear and desperation, and Jacob is beginning to realize how vulnerable he truly is without the resources and safety of his ship. The tension between the two is palpable, as Jacob wonders what this alien's true intentions are. Is it genuinely trying to help him, or is there some other reason it has chosen to guide him to this hidden place? Jacob is unsure, but he understands that right now, he has little choice but to trust the alien and follow its lead. The cavern represents his best chance at survival, at least for now, and he has to focus on getting there before nightfall, when the hunters are likely to become more aggressive. As they reach the entrance of the cavern, Jacob's mind races with questions. The entrance is hidden behind a cluster of jagged rocks, barely visible unless one knows where to look. It's clear that the alien has a level of knowledge about the land that Jacob lacks. This cavern, which appears to be untouched by the planet's dangers, offers a temporary refuge from the predators outside. The fact that the alien has chosen to bring Jacob here speaks to its level of awareness, a willingness to offer protection. As Jacob steps inside, he feels a faint flicker of hope, something he hasn't felt since the crash. However, he remains cautious. The cavern is not necessarily a guarantee of safety, and Jacob knows that the alien, while helpful, is still an unknown entity. This moment of refuge may be temporary, and Jacob must continue to evaluate whether the alien's help is truly in his best interests or if it is leading him into a new kind of danger altogether. As Jacob sets down his pack inside the cavern and begins assessing his situation, he remains ever watchful. Despite the relative safety of the cavern, he feels a sense of unease. The alien watches him silently, its glowing eyes unblinking, giving Jacob the impression that the creature is studying him in a way that's both clinical and curious. This moment, while it provides Jacob with a brief respite, is also filled with lingering tension. The alien's true motives are still unclear, and as Jacob tries to figure out his next steps, he cannot shake the feeling that there is more to this creature and this planet than he has yet uncovered. The alien has helped him find shelter, but Jacob knows that survival on this strange planet will require more than just a safe place to rest. It will take trust, strategy, and a keen understanding of the dangers that await him. As the scene unfolds, Jacob's sense of safety in the cavern begins to wane. The alien has led him to what seems like a secure refuge, hidden from the hunters that roam the planet. But the creature's next words reintroduce the gravity of the situation. It's clear that the planet is far more dangerous than Jacob initially realized, and the cavern, while offering temporary protection, is not a permanent solution to his problems. The alien, having witnessed the destructive behavior of the predators, knows exactly what Jacob is up against, and its warning carries a heavy sense of urgency. The alien's next piece of advice is crucial. They are drawn to fear and desperation. This statement is a stark reminder that survival on this planet will not just depend on physical strength or weapons, but also on Jacob's psychological state. The predators, as the alien explains, are not mindless killers. They are intelligent and highly attuned to the emotional and physical states of their prey. These hunters are drawn to vulnerability, fear, desperation, and any sign of weakness. This presents a significant challenge for Jacob. As someone stranded on an alien world, alone, and far from the safety of his ship, it is almost impossible not to feel afraid. His fear, born from his crash landing, the unknown dangers of the planet, and his isolation, makes him a target. The alien's warning is both a revelation and a command. He must control his fear. If the predators sense his fear, they will hunt him down. Jacob's mind races as he processes the alien's words. The psychological warfare that the predators use adds a layer of complexity to his survival strategy. It's not just about hiding or fighting. It's about managing his own emotions and preventing the predators from detecting his vulnerability. In the alien's warning, Jacob finds a paradox. The predator's ability to detect weakness places him in a precarious position. On one hand, he is told to avoid showing fear, but on the other, Jacob knows that it is human nature to feel fear when facing overwhelming threats. This psychological warfare creates a sense of inner conflict for him. If he allows himself to feel fear, he may become more susceptible to attack. But if he suppresses it too much, he risks losing touch with his own instincts, which could be just as dangerous. The alien, however, does not offer a simple solution. Instead, it stresses the importance of mental fortitude and control. Jacob must be vigilant in managing his emotions to avoid attracting the predator's attention. His survival depends not just on avoiding danger, but also on ensuring that his fear does not betray him. The alien's warning is also a lesson in survival that goes beyond physical prowess. While Jacob is a skilled explorer and has faced danger before, He has never had to rely on such psychological resilience. The realization that fear is both an emotional and physical weapon against him changes the way he views his situation. It forces him to become more self-aware, to understand how his body language, his heart rate, and even his breathing might give away his fear to the predators. The alien's advice also speaks to a deeper survival instinct that Jacob must awaken in himself, a control over his inner state that could mean the difference between life and death. The alien, in sharing this knowledge, is offering a critical survival tactic. But in doing so, it also leaves Jacob with a heavy responsibility. Not only must he deal with the external threats of the hunters, but he must also grapple with the internal pressure of managing his fear in a way that makes him less vulnerable. What makes the alien's warning particularly chilling is that the predators are not only hunting Jacob, but also assessing him. The alien mentions that they will come for him, and Jacob must show no weakness. This sets up a high-stakes scenario where the predators will engage in a test of endurance and willpower. If Jacob falters and shows fear, it could seal his fate. The alien's words hint at a battle not just for survival, but for respect. The predators, driven by instinct and an understanding of weakness, are not just trying to kill Jacob. They're trying to dominate him, to force him into submission. His ability to stand strong, to control his emotions and demonstrate his resolve will be critical in earning their respect and potentially deterring their attack. The stakes are no longer just about escaping physical harm. They're about navigating a complex psychological landscape where fear could be his downfall. In this moment, Jacob realizes that surviving this planet requires more than just external protection or a safe place. It demands inner strength, mental clarity, and an unyielding determination to resist being consumed by fear. The alien's warning sets the tone for the rest of Jacob's journey on this planet. It highlights the vulnerability of human emotions in the face of such dangerous creatures and serves as a reminder that survival here will depend not only on what Jacob does, but on how he maintains control over himself in the face of constant psychological pressure. The predator's ability to sense fear and weakness adds a layer of tension that Jacob must navigate if he hopes to survive. The climax of the story reaches its most intense moment when Jacob, fully aware of the dangers that the alien predators pose, is forced to make a life-or-death decision. After the alien has warned him that the predators are drawn to fear and desperation, the air in the cavern is thick with tension. The distant howls of the predators grow louder, signaling their imminent arrival. In this high-stakes moment, Jacob is confronted with two choices. He can flee from the predators, hiding further in the cavern, or he can face them head-on, risking everything in an attempt to prove his strength and gain their respect. Jacob's decision to confront the predators directly, rather than flee, marks a pivotal moment in the story. It is a decision rooted not just in physical bravery, but in psychological strategy. By choosing to face the hunters, Jacob understands that he is entering into a battle not only for survival, but also for his own dignity. The alien has already told him that the predators are drawn to fear, and if he shows any sign of weakness, he risks being hunted down. However, if he stands firm and shows no fear, the predators might respect him as a formidable foe. This mental chess game, where Jacob must control his fear and project strength, becomes the key to his survival. This decision also speaks to Jacob's sense of pride and survival instincts. He knows that if he runs, he could expose himself to the predators as a weak target, and that fear could be his downfall. But standing and facing them shows that he is not an easy victim. It is a test of his willpower and an assertion of his autonomy in a situation where everything around him seems to be working against him. Jacob's choice is deeply personal. It's not just about surviving. It's about refusing to be controlled by fear, refusing to be seen as powerless. For someone who has survived so much in his life, alien encounters, space battles, and the wreckage of his ship, Jacob's decision to face the predators is an embodiment of the resilience that defines him. Jacob's decision is further influenced by the alien's subtle encouragement. As he turns toward the entrance of the cavern, the alien's glowing eyes meet his, and Jacob senses something unexpected, a flicker of admiration. This moment of silent communication between the two is crucial, as it reassures Jacob that, while the alien may be an enigma, it recognizes his determination and strength. The alien's encouragement, even without words, boosts Jacob's confidence. It serves as a reminder that he is not entirely alone in this strange, hostile world. The alien, though an outsider itself, seems to understand the importance of standing one's ground, and its support, though unspoken, sends a powerful message to Jacob. He has the ability to survive, but he must first show that he is not a prey animal to be hunted. As Jacob steps forward to confront the predators, the tension in the air is palpable. His mind races with thoughts of survival strategies, and his grip tightens on his blaster. The hunter's howls grow louder, and Jacob feels his heart beat faster in anticipation. But he knows that showing fear will only ensure his death. Every step he takes toward the entrance is a step into the unknown, where the predatory creatures await, and where Jacob's resilience will be tested. His decision to stand his ground becomes a mental battle, as he works to suppress the natural urge to flee or cower. He knows that the moment he displays weakness, the predators will seize that opportunity to strike. Therefore, every fiber of his being is focused on projecting an aura of strength, confidence, and fearlessness. As the hunters finally emerge from the shadows, their grotesque forms filling the dim light of the cavern, Jacob's resolve is tested like never before. The predators are towering, monstrous beings, their shifting, unnatural faces and glowing eyes radiating malevolent hunger. The moment of truth has arrived. Jacob, his blaster raised, faces the beasts with unwavering determination. The lead predator steps forward, challenging him with a growl and an ominous command to prove yourself human or perish. It is now clear that this is not a simple confrontation. This is a battle of wills. The predators are testing Jacob's mettle, assessing whether he is worthy of survival or if he is simply an easy target to be consumed. Jacob, taking a deep breath, responds to the challenge with strength and clarity, refusing to back down. He tells the lead predator that he will prove himself, but on his own terms. This moment marks the culmination of his internal struggle. Jacob is no longer just a man trying to survive. He is asserting his dominance in a world that is trying to break him. His decision to face the predators head-on not only speaks to his courage, but also to his growing understanding of the alien world he has crashed into. In choosing to confront the danger rather than run from it, Jacob claims his place in the larger story of survival and resilience. The confrontation, filled with tension and high stakes, becomes the ultimate test of his strength, one that will determine whether he lives to see another day or whether the predators will claim victory. In the end, Jacob's decision to face the predators is the defining moment of his survival on the planet. His ability to show no fear in the face of overwhelming danger earns the respect of the predators, who retreat, unwilling to engage with a being that is not easily intimidated. This victory, however, is not just physical, it is psychological. Jacob has proven to himself that he can overcome not just external threats, but also the internal battle against fear. This victory marks the beginning of a new chapter in his struggle for survival, one where his mental resilience, rather than just his physical strength, will play a key role in determining his fate on this perilous alien world.